Pleasant morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Michael Anizet, General Secretary of the National Trade Union Center. I wish to engage you in a conversation as we build leading up to this historical day, which is Labor Day in 𝑵𝑗𝑍𝑵 and Labor Day in Tobago. As you may be aware, the National Trade Union Center will be going to Tobago to mobilize all workers in Tobago, and there will be the traditional Labor Day in 𝑵𝑗𝑍𝑵, and we extend an invitation to all workers who cannot go to Tobago to make sure and journey to 𝑵𝑗𝑍𝑵 on June 19, which is Father's Day. It is critical, it is important that we, the workers, and those who are supportive of the trade union movement, come out in your numbers to join this historical march from 𝑵𝑗𝑍𝑵 and from Tobago, from Lowlands, Gulfview. Gulfview, is it Gulfview or Gulf City Mall? There's where we start in Tobago. Having said that, comrades, the government offered, and everybody is calling and say, but they make a move. The government has offered 4% over a 6-year period. And how do we analyze that? The offer is 0.02%, 0.02%. And what is critical about that in our analysis is that no provisions was made whatsoever for pensioners who would have worked during that 2-year period that the government offers 0.0. We in the National Trade Union Center, we continue to say that you must pay homage and respect to those pensioners who live on salaries that do not change, who live on salaries that is not indexed to the cost of living, so that if you leave and your pension was $1,500, it will be $1,500 to the rest of your life. So we are saying that it is critical that the periods that these workers work, that the government must offer some level of increase to those pensioners who live from day to day. But I need to do a deep dive into the government's offer so that people will understand what are the implications and why we are saying that the government offer does not speak to the economic, social and financial realities that workers are facing as I speak to you. What is the offer? The offer is 2%, 0.02 for the first 3 years. Let us assume that you are getting a salary of $7,000, and I know a lot of you daily rated workers are not getting over $7,000. What happens to such a salary? A 2% of that will be $140 a month. And when you divide that, and I want you all to pay particular attention to it, when you divide that, it comes up to $6.38 a day. That is what the government is offering you. That is the meaning of the 2%, brothers and sisters, comrades, all, families, parents, single mothers. And that is what we are standing up against. Our economic and financial and social realities doesn't and cannot cut it in the context that this government only offers us, right? That is 318. And if you carry that to the next 2 years, which will be 4%, it will represent $6.38. And let us now do some maths, comrades. There are 22 working days in a month. Divide $70 by 22 days. See what you get. Divide 22 days by $140. See what you get. As I say, $6.38 a day, in addition to your pay that your government is asking you to accept on the basis that they don't have money to pay. We in the National Trade Union Center, we continue to say, brothers and sisters, Trinidad and Tobago, the government finds money to pay for all kinds of goods, services, and other what we will want to call prestigious constructions where certain people benefit. And who pays that money? It is not the government, and I want you to understand that. The payment is not a government payment, it's we the taxpayers who pay that money. So that when the government do bad spending, for which they are doing as I speak to you, the price and the cost falls on us. So don't let the government fool you by it will cost us X amount of $1 billion if we have to pay the back pay. That is our money. And I want to raise an economic philosophy and a policy which is called the value of money. The value of money. The value of money, or the time value of money, as we say within the trade union movement. And what does that mean? It means in effect, that monies that is paid today do not have the same value in the context of money that is paid after. So in other words, the government failed to negotiate with you, the daily rated workers, with you, the public servants, with you, the port workers, with you, the workers in Tobago. And the value of the money that you would have been getting at that time, if the government had negotiated, it is an economic factor which says then that if you get that money now, you will not have the same value like if you had it 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago. But more importantly, and you must hold your constituent representatives to this. When the government deliberately decided not to negotiate wage increases for all government employees, what was your salary increases that were being paid at that time? It was 12%. Some was getting 9%. Some was getting as much as 15% wage increase. So the question that you have to ask yourself as workers of Trinidad and Tobago, had the government paid and negotiated with the union in time on how they were supposed to negotiate all those years ago, your value of your money would have been much better off. So we jumped from 12% in those years to now offering workers 2%. So you are losing 10 percentage points technically, and that is a erosion of your dollar. That is pauperization. That is making you into what I will want to call modern slave workers. Because as an employer, and we have to make that point, brothers and sisters, Trinidad and Tobago, we must make that point. When a government pays you, you have to be able to survive, to live comfortably within your environment. And we are saying that the wage increase cannot cut it. And we are not going to accept that the government have no money and they will have to borrow the money. Go and borrow the money. Because it's we the taxpayers. Who does what? It's not Dr. Keith Rowley who pays the money. It's not Imbut who pays the money. It's not none of the minister, or it's not cabinet. It is we the taxpayers who pays the money. And therefore we are saying that borrow the money is we have to pay it. But further, let us deal with another economic point. And I want to stop here because this is leading up this discourse with you. The people of Trinidad and Tobago will continue leading up to Labor Day. And listening, I call on you to listen in Trinidad and Tobago and the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And the point that we want to make, brothers and sisters, this issue of not paying wages was a conscious decision by this government to depress wages, to pauperize workers in Trinidad and Tobago. And we have to make the distinction again between government and the government as an employee, as an employer rather. Do you know that you pay 25% tax if you cross a certain wage or salary range, do you know we have to pay VAT on goods? Do you know we have to pay NIS as workers? Do you know that if you are in a pension plan, there's a deduction from your salaries too? So when we add up all those deductions, $1 is really worth, in some instances, 35 cents or 32 cents to workers in Trinidad and Tobago. That is the reality. And that is why we are making the call, the National Trade Union Center, to everybody in Tobago to come out in your numbers and show support to the labor movement. That is why we are calling on everybody in Trinidad who cannot go to Tobago to go to Faizabad in your numbers, so that we will make a statement to this government: enough is enough. We are saying that you must treat our workers and our women and our pensioners with the respect and the dignity that they deserve. And there isn't an issue of monies in Trinidad and Tobago. We know. You can go and see who buying big BMW and who buying Porsche, 3 Porsche in Trinidad and Tobago. You can go in houses and see 6 cars in houses in Trinidad and Tobago. And the very economy is not under a recession, because the very private sector are paying their workers proper wages. Why this government has taken the decision under the disguise that if they have to increase the wages, they're going to have to borrow the money. We say not to. We say under the United banner, which is 𝑗TOM, NATUC, and Phyton, borrow the money. We deserve better. We deserve better as workers in Trinidad and Tobago. And I want to remind you, finally, that when we were outside there, you the dock workers, you the nurses, you the police officers, you the daily rated workers, you the MTS workers, you the PTSC workers, where was the minister? Where was cabinet? When we were exposing our lives during the COVID period, who kept the economy rolling? Ask yourself that question. Did you see any minister, prime minister, or minister of finance outside there on the port or in the hospitals? You the healthcare workers, you the nurses, you the police officers, you the fire officers. All right? Did you see any one of these people outside there? No. It was we the workers who kept this economy rolling and ticking over. And therefore, we are saying we deserve better. And I am saying that your failure to come out in your numbers on June 19 in Faizabad, if you're not going to Tobago, and in Tobago will be an indication that you don't care and you want the government to do what they want. And if that is the case, we will have problems, brothers and sisters. So come out in your numbers. Show your disgust. Show your dissatisfaction. Show how insensitive this government is to your plight, to your needs. Okay? As we say in the National Trade Union Center, Trinidad and Tobago belong to each and every one of us. As we continue to say that Trinidad and Tobago cannot be for the financiers of the political parties, the business elite and the political elite, while they leave us, we the workers, we who generate the wealth, yes, we generate the wealth, because if we fail to produce and buy the goods and services, there will be no wealth in Trinidad and Tobago, and therefore we deserve better. Come out in your numbers, demonstrate in Tobago, demonstrate in Faizabad that we had enough. Enough is enough, and let us send a clear message to this government that you must respect our workers, right? This fight is about dignity and respect for our workers, single parents, pensioners, and every government worker. Come out in your numbers. Show them that we had enough. Enough is enough, and we're not going to take all those talks, but they don't have money and they have to borrow. You borrow money for all kinds of things. Why you cannot borrow money? We are asking the Rowley-led government, why you cannot borrow money for the people of Trinidad and Tobago to benefit and to be able to feed their children? What is wrong with that economically? But no, they are following a different business model, a model that speaks to that those who rich, as was said, that the rich has to get money for the poor to get money. We don't buy that. We don't support that philosophy, and that model has no place in Trinidad and Tobago. Power to the people, power to the working class. Let us collectively demonstrate that we are serious. Let us demonstrate as workers and as activists and as parents, as pensioners, that we too deserve to be respected, and Trinidad and Tobago belong to each and every one of us. This Labor Day, the 85th year anniversary of Labor Day, this is what it is all about, to send a clear message to this government that those days finish, that we want to be treated with respect and dignity. We want living wages, and if you fail to do that, you will suffer the consequences of the wrath of the people. The word of the people is the word of God. Thank you. Blessings, Trinidad and Tobago. And as I continue to always say, let us go back to our ancestral mothers and fathers. Let us go into our spirituality as we continue this journey and this fight for respect, for justice, for dignity, and the right to be treated fairly in Trinidad and Tobago. And we must have living wages, and wages where our workers, and more particularly the government workers, can survive in this country. Thank you, Trinidad and Tobago. I love you all. I'm looking forward to seeing you in your numbers in 𝑵𝑍𝑵𝑏, and you in Tobago, all the workers in Tobago. I'm looking forward to seeing you coming out in your hundreds to demonstrate and say, enough is enough. Thank you.